Guys, it's going down this weekend at UFC 293 with Adesanya stepping up to defend his title against Sean Strickland, and my partners at DraftKings are offering an incredible deal for all new customers who sign up using the promo code Sonnen. New customers, you can bet $5 on any of this weekend's fights, and you're going to receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. You can even use your bonus bets on DraftKings same fight parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same fight, including number of rounds and method of victory. Remember, DraftKings is the only place where you can bet same fight parlays. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. So click on the link below. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Sonnen and get in on all the fun. Did you guys see who George Masvidal said Justin Gaethje should fight next? Did you see? Maybe not a big surprise to anyone, but George says he should fight me. So Masvidal versus Gaethje, 170 pounds, BMF title, are you in? Now, I got to ask you that because once upon a time, known as a year ago, I would know that answer. Once upon a time, known as a year ago, that fight would have gotten made. Once upon a time, known as a year ago, that might be the most massive fight and most talked about fight of the year, but I'm just wondering right now, are you in? Like, there's always an element of the psychology that gets missed. For the fighter, it never dies. It never goes away. He's still a big draw. He still wants to do it. He still thinks people want to see him do it, and that's where the disconnect comes. At times. I don't know that that's where this is now. I'm making that suggestion, right? I'm asking you. There was a number of people that can come back, and it's much easier to come back if you are over with the audience, if you have the ability to sell and draw, but they don't want you to win. There's a lot easier way and a lot more athletes through history that could come back and do what a returning athlete does, which is get stomped out faster than the one that got him thrown out of the sport in the first place. But there's a number of times that you can do that when the audience really is interested in you, but moreover doesn't want you to win. It's a much harder thing to do when the audience loves you, because the audience who is willing to suspend reality can only suspend it so far. I can suspend reality and tell my friends and tell myself, I'll put your old t-shirt on. I can do all of these things knowing that you are not going to be successful, but it's very different if I like you and I don't want to see you get beat up. And again, I'm not assuring you that I'm pertaining to this fight. What I can assure you is there has been a very large part of what I bring to you guys, which is speculation. Speculation verging on crossing the line into conspiracy. I'm not really a conspiracy guy. But there is a number of times where I do think in the sport, while we don't know, so let's go ahead and speculate, they already know. There's times where I believe that to be the case, and more I'm realizing nobody knows. Like, there isn't a whole bunch of secrets that are kept from us. I mean, here, I'll out myself, but as recently as yesterday, I told you that I think the reason Chito Vera has gone quiet on Sean O'Malley is because Chito has already been told he's got the fight. And I've been told by multiple people that I had that one wrong. And Chito then went out and actually did media as recently as today in the form of the Ariel Helwani show, where it became pretty clear that fight is not done. And I only bring you that instance because we were just put in a position we have never been in the 30 years of this sport being here, which is the industry leader has 3 number 1 contenders. We're told that Charles Oliveira is going to do the fight. I have to keep wording it that way. And I will continue to word it that way until Charles tells us he's going to do the fight, which has not yet happened. That is so wildly interesting, by the way. We're told that Charles is going to fight Islam. We just haven't been told that yet by Charles. Fair enough. Let's give it to Charles. Justin Gaethje says he wants it, and nobody has told him he's not getting it. They've had time. They've had time to book him. They've had time to tell him no. They've had time to laugh. They've had time to say, hey, we're going to defend this BMF belt. They've had time to say, we're not going to defend the BMF belt. But they haven't done any of those things. So I would believe that Justin Gaethje is going to be next. And a deal was made with Alexander Volkanovski. If you, Volk, beat your ear, and Islam defeats Charles, of which he's a 4-1 favorite to do, we will rematch Volk and Islam. So, with that said, I admit that Islam still's got something to do, but we now have 3 number 1 contenders, and I shared for you guys that I think something has worked out. I think somebody who knows is next, but I don't know that is actually accurate. I don't think you should count on Charles to show up against the guy who he's told us 3 times he's not going to fight. I don't think you should do that. I think you'd be very wise to have a backup fighter. I'm not looking to be a jerk. We've already done that fight once. You weren't sure he was going to show up that night, which is why you brought in a backup fighter. So now we're going to redo the same thing against the same guy for the same belt, the same weight class, in the same arena. Let's also have a backup fighter. That's my only suggestion, but it appears that you just lost it in the firm of Volk because he says he's not doing it. As a matter of fact, he wants to fight this year, of which there's only 1 card available in December, against Ilia Topuria, which makes all the sense in the world. So what do you do with Gaethje? Well, Gaethje just got called out by a guy who never wanted to leave the sport in the first place. Like, if there has ever been an insincere apology, an insincere retirement, it was Masvidal's. My partner Ryan actually called me that night, and he goes, he's not done. I don't know where he's going to pop up, but he is not done. That was not a retirement. I see it the same way. And now, whether he was going to do bare knuckle or fight within his own promotion or get into the grappling arts or return to the UFC, like, that was still open for speculation. But I also did not believe that Masvidal was done. By choice, right? See, that's where you get to the rest of the conversation. And that's where we get to what I'm here to ask you about. I do believe Masvidal wants to fight. I do believe that he can fight. I believe if he's going to fight, he's got to fight the right guy for the right thing. And knowing that some of the quicker or better or higher days are over, if you fight a smaller guy, right? It's the story the Pauls have been telling since they started in this. They were very open to say, I'll fight guys with more experience. Give me a few pounds. Let's see what happens. If Masvidal were to fight Gaethje, and there's some kind of a grudge there, frankly, I don't know where that genesis of that is, but I do know that it exists, to the point that Masvidal, who was brought in to put the belt around the winner of Poirier and Gaethje said, I don't think he'll put it around me if it's me. So they got some kind of heat somewhere. That would be very interesting. I mean, those are 2 sluggers. Are they going to put up the BMF belt? Could you go in that direction? Would you go in that direction with a guy that you're bringing back that's doing it not only because he still loves it, but he really wants the payday? Like, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of moving parts. I'm just here to ask you the question. Masvidal says Gaethje should fight him, and it should be for the belt. It seems Gaethje right now is being kept on ice to fight Islam should he get past Oliveira, which is also to bid adieu to the fact that Volkanovski removed himself from that equation. Would you rather Gaethje just wait and do that? So here's the question. Real simple. Justin Gaethje. Do you want to see him fight for the UFC belt against Islam? Do you want to see him fight for the BMF belt against Masvidal? Tell me your answer.